On behalf of SME Chamber of India and India-Italy SME Business Council, it's my immense pleasure to welcome His Excellency the Ambassador Mr. Luca from New Delhi, uh, Dr. Binoy George, the Consul General of Indian Embassy in Milan, and Alessandro, is my good friend, and he is taking care of the India-Italy SME Business Council Chairman for the Italy region. Friends, this is my immense pleasure to welcome all of you from various parts, from the India and from the Italy also. And this is a very interesting platform today, India-Italy SME Partnership Summit, which is focusing more on the how we can explore emerging bilateral trade, business and investment opportunity, particularly for Indian and Italian SMEs. We are aware that the recently Honorable Prime Minister of India and Honorable Prime Minister of Italy have met on a webinar on 6th November, and they have discussed various points on the particularly for the development of more cooperation, economic cooperation, diplomatic cooperation between India and Italy, and they have discussed and they have planned some ideas, particularly for or initiatives, particularly from the various sectors, especially from the technology part, particularly for the industrial park, green technology. And I'm sure that this will be very interesting discussion today. His Excellency the Ambassador will be sharing his ideas and particularly initiatives and action plans for the developing more contract and more connection between Indian and Italian businesses, and especially His Excellency the Consul General of India in Milan. He's also going to share some thoughts, but where Indian SME can explore more business opportunity in Italy, how they can develop cooperation with the Indian and Italian businesses. Your Excellency, that SME Chamber of India is playing very important role for the last 27 years. We are supporting manufacturing industry to develop more, grow more, go global, identify the advanced technology, unique technology, affordable technology, and patented technology for improvement of their manufacturing excellence, product, even innovative product for not only for the local market but global market. You are aware that Honorable Prime Minister of India has given more trust and more support to the Indian SMEs for empowering, particularly for the creating the level playing field to adopt the advanced technology, adopt the unique ideas, and adopt the new concept for a quality production, quality services for India market and a global market. I'm following the Indian companies and Indian Italian companies particularly for last 30 years, and I'm very much fond of Italy and particularly the innovation and invention done by the businesses, and more on particularly SME. Those Indian SMEs are looking for advanced technology, patented technology. That is our main efforts at this platform. SME Chamber of India is putting a lot of efforts for the policy implementation, suggestions for the improvement of the policy, suggestion for the policy change with the central government, with the state governments. SME Chamber of India also providing support for the companies those are looking for India market, looking for setting up business in India. We are working very closely with various state governments, particularly for the providing industrial land, joint venture, technology transfer, and contract manufacturing. Your Excellency, we have a strong network of the manufacturing industry by SME sector. They are having the quality manufacturing units. They are having the industrial premises. They are having the surplus industrial premises. If any Indian, Italian companies are looking to set up businesses in India, if they want to start their joint venture, if they want to start manufacturing unit, strategic partnerships, so SME Chamber of India will play very important role and also playing very important role. Nevertheless, then we are supporting Indian companies to visit various exhibitions in Italy, participating various conferences, various regional associations, agencies they are approaching, and here we are supporting startups from both the countries to have a more cooperation to exchange their ideas. Because the Italian startups, I know very well that they are doing a lot of ideas, a lot of efforts for putting efforts and bringing ideas, and that idea can be explored with the Indian companies and Indian startups. That is our today's concept. So I would like to now invite Alessandro Giuliani to share his thoughts, particularly in our India-Italy SM Business Council perspective how we are going to develop, how we are going to organize programs. Since he is taking care of Italy, I am taking care of the India. So this is the right platform where we can bring the Italian and Indian SMEs and companies together to explore more business cooperation. I know both the consulate and both the embassies are working on a diplomatic relation, developing more diplomatic relations, and we are here to develop and enhance the economic relations at this platform. With these words, I'm thankful to His Excellency to attending this today's webinar and our Consul General from Milan. Special thanks to you, and special thanks to Indian Ambassador. She couldn't join today because of some emergency, but she has said that she will be definitely supporting all the issues and problems to resolve on instantly, and she will plan accordingly action that how the both the Prime Minister have decided, and we will take forward for the perspective of India and Italy. Thank you very much. Now I invite Alessandro to share his thoughts.
Thank you very much, Chandrakant. A very welcome to everybody. His Excellency Mr. Vincenzo De Luca, Ambassador of Italy to India, Dr. Binoy George, Consul General of India in Milan, Professor Carlo Altomonte, European Economic Policy of Bocconi University, and the delegates that I know are present from the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Regione Lombardia, Comune di Milano, Confindustria, Asso Lombarda, Banca Popolare di Milano, everybody. Special thanks I want to give to Mr. Chandrakant Salunkhe, our president, for the support and commitment to this relationship between Italy and India that are extremely dear to me. I'm extremely excited to be starting this series of activity on behalf of such an important and represented institutions as the SME Chamber of India. I think that nobody better than Indians and Italians can understand the importance of SMEs, being the two big important economies in the world, where more than 90% of the GDP is released by MSMEs. And on top of that, no other two countries in the world, I think they understand each other better on these subjects and are so much similar and complementary in it. I've been here for 10 years and I've been able to see that and to touch that with my hands. These are economies for the last few thousand years, Italy, India, and China, okay, were always at the top 3 positions in the world as the largest economies in the world. India and China are catching up. Italy, unfortunately, but just for the sheer size of the country, will not be part of the gang, but is playing important roles in specific sectors. Nevertheless, Italy is the size of 3 Bombay, 3 crores people, and has just only recently been passed by India in the economic powers, and Northern Italy is still playing a very important role in the world economy and in Europe itself. It has not been always so. In fact, funny enough, just like India is catching up now very quickly and overtaking everybody, Italy had to catch up to the other Western countries just after the world wars. We were the last one of the row. For various reasons that we cannot go through that right now. But also in those decades between the wars, something very similar happened with a lot of massive migrations, especially to the UK, US, with a lot of remittances, a quick shift from slow pace sipping coffee in the porch or chai in the front door to a fast growing economy. Population that rose in Italy from 2.2 times, with the per capita GDP increasing 13.6 times, and the growth of the gross product 30-fold. So the rising capital per worker is necessary, but was and is not the only condition of modern growth. In Italy, as everywhere, the increasing technical knowledge was of particular importance. And to that, I attach research, education, and passion. 3 things that the 2 countries historically have in their DNAs. The improving quality of the production factor was not more significant than the quantitative, growth. And physical capital and human capital were the basis of growth and the convergence of Italian economy to the other Western countries. Education is, I talk a lot about education also, and I thank also our president that he has given me to follow also education, because I've been managing for 10 years the India campus of the only foreign business school in India, the campus of SDA Bocconi School of Management. Just 2 days back, we have been ranked number 6 in the world among business schools. So very good, and we've been there for 10 years. And I've touched how education, which includes also the training, the capital, the human capital, is extremely important, and is extremely dear also to Indians. And we have just said this, the NEP 2020, which is extremely forward-looking, and we're all excited about that. It's bringing on the changes that were badly needed. So I've been doing that, and it's amazing how we are cooperating with Indian corporates in training, custom training of the corporates, a real proof of how the exchange of knowledge is very important. Because with growth, we have a lot of other factors that come, like social equilibrium being shaken, economic and geographic changes undergoing urbanization, geographically diverse realities that suddenly have to be put together, different growth, like in India, we have North and West that are more normal, classical capitalist development, while Northeast and South, there are more crafts that are enhanced technologically and with sustainability. We have the public administration to be embedded into the economic system in a competitive way, strategies of disruption and digitization, strategies of growth. Yes, because once more, there are striking similarities between the Indian SMEs, what they are doing little by little, and what has been done in Italy, where Italy, while keeping the size of the firms small, managed to reap economies of networks by locating the small firms in clusters in a particular place and specializing in the production of customized goods, either consumer goods or machinery and spare parts. Enterprises were small, are still small. They competed, but they also collaborated, and the social network of the place was an integral part of the functioning of the model, based on relations of trust mainly. Some grew to become excellence in the world. The same thing I'm seeing happening in several sectors in India. These successes are based on peculiar and common features that are common to India and Italy, such as flexibility, responsiveness, orientation to customers, openness to innovation, and especially leverage the entrepreneur's creativity and contribution, made of experience, passion, curiosity, and courage. And at a certain stage, needs a professional development. One of the crucial points to ensure continuous success and development of the SMEs is the support of their managerial enhancement. This is the reason why SDA Bocconi has been, I would say, hand-holding the development of especially Northern Italy, and as a track record of MDPs with custom and open programs. This is the reason why the exchanges also between the two countries are extremely important. So again, the similarities of the two people, of the two countries made very similar paths, just with different speed. Italy started first, India is going much faster. Italy's specific knowledge in craftsmanship, mechanics, agriculture, automotive were enhanced by design and niche research and technology. The same that has happened is happening in India, with the advantage of skipping mistakes already done and larger scale market size. India is also thriving SMEs that could benefit from entering European markets with Italian brands and distribution. Yet, do acknowledge that doing business in the two countries is not easy. How can I forget the bumpy ride that it was setting up the school? But I see that the two countries can understand each other extremely well. This is the reason why I accepted very happily the offer of Mr. Salunkhe, our president, to have me taking care of the India-Italy committee and of education. I love these two countries. I love the two people. I recognize that a lot can be done through the heart of making India and education. The project I've already started under the umbrella of the Italian Chamber of Commerce, on which board I also sit. A lot can be done by sharing knowledge, capital, and dreams between Italian and Indian SMEs. So these events wants to be a starting point, a meeting point, and it will be followed by more specific operational work tables. I invite everybody to be extremely proactive and propose any cross-border initiative. And I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. It's really, I'm very much thankful to you for accepting this challenging responsibility. I'm sure that we can, since you are in education, I'm in business, we can bring two things together to enhance the knowledge and education amongst the Indian entrepreneurs. And I will put more efforts to enhance their business activity for more between India and Italy. I'm sure that today's event will be focusing more on how we can develop bilateral trade, and His Excellency the Ambassador will also share his thoughts, particularly the role and responsibility of the diplomatic mission, how we can develop this connectivity, particularly for the policy, multilateral cooperation. Even I'm very much happy that to share that both the prime ministers have come to the conclusion that how we can develop more connectivity in high technology, clean energy, and energy sector emerging business opportunity for Indian company and India perspective, where we can do. I will not take much time, and I would like to. It's my immense pleasure, and I very happily invite His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Luca to share his thoughts, and particularly in the perspective of the Indian and Italy businesses, especially for SME and startups. Your Excellency, the floor is open for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Salunkhe. My greetings to the Consul General Binoy George and our friend Alessandro Giuliani and the other representative from Bocconi, Milan. In the last 3 years, we have recorded a significant increase in commercial exchange between Italy and India, which has increased by over 20% and has reached 9.5 billion euro. Nevertheless, we still have considerable potential for growth. And for this reason, in the last bilateral digital summit between the two prime ministers of Italy and India, it was mentioned in the introduction, last 6th of November, we adopt for the first time an action plan for the next 5 years with the main objective to further strengthen the economic partnership between Italy and India. We have identified 5 priority areas: the green economy and energy transition, the infrastructure with a focus on railway, advanced manufacturing under the Indian government's program Make in India, food processing, and later pharmaceutical and medical sector that was promoted even more after COVID crisis. In this plan, we intend to attract more Italian investment in India and more Indian investment in Italy, and strengthen the technological partnership and common research in innovative fields. This plan is perfectly consistent with the strategic partnership framework between the European Union and India, defined in the last digital summit last July. Italy and India are two relevant manufacturing platforms and have complementarity, as rightly said by Professor Giuliani before, in the value chain. Now, how can Italian and Indian SMEs fit into this framework? SMEs in Italy are an important component of our export industries. There are 210,000 exporting companies in Italy. A large part of these companies are precisely SMEs. I believe it's essential to involve SMEs in a process of reorganization and diversification of value chain, and to encourage their involvement on both the Indian and the Italian sides on one end by working more in aggregate form with SMEs association, with industrial districts and territories. On the other hand, promoting and introducing additional tools and financial resources for the internationalization. So, aggregation, association, and financing. These are the key elements for strengthening the presence of SMEs from Italy to India and from India to Italy. On the aggregation side, in recent years, we have started interesting experience in the agricultural sector, for example, in India with Federunacoma, that is the Association of Agricultural Machinery, which organize every year exhibition and matchmaking of Italian agricultural machinery manufacturer and hosting commercial promotion events in Italy. In the food processing, where we intend to start pilot partnership projects between Indian food park and associations such as Anima for food processing machinery, and Italian territories such as Emilia-Romagna, where we have established a partnership with the Regione Emilia-Romagna, and Lombardia, where we, Asso Lombarda, we have a very, very close relationship, and we have a regular meeting. These two regions are at the forefront of this sector, for example, but there are other opportunities. For example, in the marble sector, we have organized an aggregation of SMEs for the presentation of their products here in India, machinery for leather industry, and also in the cosmetic sector. I just mentioned some examples of how we try to aggregate the participation of SMEs in the Indian market, because of course, for a single SME, it's not easy to approach a strategic market with a long-term view and perspective like India. As regards the financial instrument with the new export agreement launched by the Minister of Foreign Affairs Di Maio in agreement with the Industrial Association, important resources amounting to approximately €1 billion have been made available in particular for SMEs. In addition, SACE, the Italian Export Credit Agency, has launched an innovative program called Push Strategy for some years ago to offer subsidized credit line for purchases in Italy of goods and machinery that create additional favorable conditions for the export of our SMEs. We should also further explore opportunities of joint venture of Italian SMEs with Indian partners, with Indian SMEs, and also we see a potential for the small enterprise to join the supply chain in India of our big companies, where they have invested a lot in the last few years. Fiat in the automotive sector, Enel e Snam in the energy transition, Ferrovie dello Stato in the railway sector, Webuild in the infrastructure, Leonardo and Fincantieri in the defense and aerospace sector and in shipbuilding. Are all relevant sectors where there is a value chain in Italy very much fueled by the contribution of SMEs. We are also ready to share experiences in the organization of the Industrial District, Center of Competence, and Technological Transfer Center, for example, in the framework of the new manufacturing industry policy called Industry 4.0, that in Italy started some years ago, and Italy now is in the forefront of the European policy on this field of the manufacturing industry that will be more and more linked with the digital services and a knowledge-based kind of framework. For our SMEs involved in all the area of mass product market, we have also launched an innovative project to promote the Made in Italy in the e-commerce. In India today, we have already 830 million users of internet and an e-commerce of a turnover of 100 billion US dollar with a forecast of 200 billion US dollar in 2026. We have signed an important agreement between our Italian trade promotion agency ICE and Flipkart, one of the most important online platform, to create an Italian mall for the sale of Italian products in fashion, food, cosmetic, and design. Also, in this case, we are trying to aggregate the Italian SMEs, which alone would not be able to penetrate the Indian market, either online or offline. Finally, we have also created a digital platform with Invest India to facilitate matchmaking between Italian companies, also SMEs, and Indian authorities and partners. From the Indian side, I think that the role of SME chamber is crucial for having the kind of aggregation and the capacity of organized matchmaking between Indian SMEs and Italian companies, either big companies or medium companies, to organize and promote and support the partnership, joint venture and presence of Indian companies in Italy. Actually, the Indian investment in Italy, I'm so happy to tell you this, has increased in the last few years, but still we have a big potential. If we only consider the situation after Brexit, now Italy is one of the most important markets, and in Italy we have the biggest Indian community in European Union. So I think there are further potential to develop investment from India, not only from the big companies, but also for SMEs, especially if we are able to facilitate relationship between Indian SMEs and Italian companies. I can tell you also that we are fully available to work with you both with digital events and with physical presence events when it will be possible. But in this time, as embassy, we have transformed our activity in a sort of digital embassy. From April to December 2020, we have organized 228 events with Italian and Indian companies. That is the top of the number of the outreach we have been able to do, because before the use of these modalities was much more difficult, especially for SMEs to organize meeting here. So we have to take advantage of the familiarity now we have with these digital devices to allow more and more meetings between Italian and Indian companies, between the two governments, on the support of the business and the partnership. And I'm so happy to join you today, and again available for further meetings with also specific focus according to the priorities I mentioned before in the partnership between the two countries. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for your energetic and very valuable suggestions and support shown in your speech. It's very interesting because we will be definitely take advantage of the suggestions and the options you are given now, and especially for the food sector, food technology, and I'm sure that the packaging industry, innovative industry, knowledge-based industry is very well in Italy. We are aware that a lot of machinery for the textiles, garment, leather, and the other sectors purpose we import from Italy. But we would like to develop more because we are looking advanced technology. We want to support Indian companies to acquire the advanced technology to produce quality products, quality services, not only for local market, for world market. You are aware that we have stopped buying from China, and now we want to create a local market as a global market. And the SME Chamber of India is playing very important role for giving guidance, education to Indian entrepreneurs, supporting them to identify or explore new market, particularly in the world market, wherever there are opportunity for SME sector. And mostly we are bringing both the SMEs from the different parts of the world to understand the business potentials, because most of the SMEs in India, they are growing, they are exploring the different ideas, but foreign companies are having the advanced technology, skilled manpower, a good management, And therefore, as you said that we have a industrial premises, we have a industrial land, we have a industrial setup set up by our Indian SMEs, which will be useful. We also work very closely with Invest India. Rather, you will be happy to know that we have also started SME Investment Promotion Council, which is supporting only SMEs. Those are looking to have a collaboration with the foreign companies, and not only for just investment, but technology transfer, joint venture, strategic partnership, even contract manufacturing, and where we want to connect with the SMEs for identifying the advanced technology. This is very, very interesting, and we would like to explore the opportunity with your embassy and with your team, as well as with the Indian embassy. Now, I would like to bring in Dr. Binoy George to share his thoughts. Yes.
Sorry,
Please.
on this specific point, because maybe later
Yes,
the discussion will go on other topics. I would suggest you to have a meeting together with Invest India to organize a specific segment in the digital platform dedicated to SMEs from India to Italy and from Italy to India, so that we can offer further opportunities of presentation of projects, presentation of interest, presentation of opportunities to both Indian SMEs and Italian SMEs. I will mention this to Deepak Bagla, the CEO of Invest India, and maybe together we can organize a meeting. Also, of course, with involvement with the Indian embassy in Rome, if they and the Consul General in Milan, if they agree. Thank you.
Yes, this is a very good suggestion, and Deepak Bagla is a good friend of mine also. Let us explore very soon, because we have some companies, they are also looking to invest out of country. So where I will take advantage of the Italian embassy, Indian embassy for exploring. You will be happy to know that we have identified some land in Nova Gorica in Italian part. It's close to Slovenia border. We have explored very good support there, and now I am going to request Alessandro to to look into that, how we can connect with the the Verona and other industry, particularly for the developing cooperation. So now I would like to invite Dr. Binoy George to share his thoughts.
Thank you very much. It's indeed a pleasure to participate in this India-Italy SME meeting today. I would like to thank Mr. Salunkhe for this initiative, and His Excellency the Ambassador of Italy to India for his participation, and also Mr. Alessandro. I would, at the outset, let me thank the SME Chamber of India for organizing this very topical event, which is connecting India and Italy to facilitate business promotion between the SMEs of India and Italy. It is a very emerging area. You all know that India and Italy share a very warm and multifaceted business relationship, and the trade between the two countries have been growing, just like Ambassador Luca has mentioned. Though the environment, the business environment has been particularly affected in the last 1 year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, still there are positive, or rather green shoots in our trade and our economic and trade relationship. India sees Italy, which is the third largest EU economy, as a base for robust manufacturing, technological and design capabilities. Italy has been a strong partner for our Make in India initiative and also the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. Italy is, of course, India's fifth largest trading partner within the EU. And just like Ambassador mentioned, quite recently, in fact, on the 6th of November, our two prime ministers had a virtual bilateral summit wherein several agreements have been signed in areas like trade, environment, media, filmmaking, energy, just to cite a few areas. The most important part is that as part of this initiative, our two leaders acknowledged the untapped potential of bilateral industrial partnership and projects which are in pipeline and for future, just like Ambassador mentioned. And our leaders encouraged the respective national champions and SMEs to explore new avenues of cooperation. We also are aware, I think many of you would be aware that India ranks as the 16th country of origin for Italian exports, which also bring us to the point that there is huge potential for considerable growth in this area. There are around 600 Italian companies already very active in India in various sectors. Most of them would be partners with our companies. You would know areas such as fashion and garments, textiles, machinery, very much so in textile machinery, automotive components, infrastructure, chemicals, energy, just to name a few areas. The other way, or rather the two-way cooperation is also increasing. We also have a large presence of Indian students and many Indian workers, mainly in the agriculture sector here in Italy. All these create an enabling environment or a familiarity or a sense of familiarity between our companies, particularly when it comes to SMEs. In the past, we have had very good cooperation in some areas handled by our SMEs. We have had delegations visiting us from the area of leather and shoemaking, garments, food processing, as you mentioned, is one very promising area where a lot of Indian companies have visited Italy, and many Italian companies with niche technology. These are small and medium enterprises based in Italy. Of course, the classification has or rather how we look at small and medium in both the countries have been more or less aligned recently. We have reclassified our small and medium industry sector recently. All these companies, particularly the small and medium companies based in Italy, and of more importance, the area where the consulate is located in the northern part of Italy, are real champions in their areas, and they have niche technologies, which offer huge opportunity for Indian small and medium enterprises to cooperate in this area. We understand that the year 2020 was a year of challenges, more so for sectors which are handled by the small and medium enterprises. The MSME sectors has been under tremendous stress with this pandemic, which has wreaked havoc on this sector, and many factory owners were finding impossible or difficult to keep their business running. This has been our experience in the last sort of 1 year, and despite all these struggles, we are also seeing that the SME sector remains resilient and hopeful. This is the impression which I get sitting here in northern Italy, that even some of the very active and like very prospective companies based in these sectors are again back to track, and they're trying to do their best in working out these linkage with Italian companies. Also, keeping in view of the particular situation, the Government of India has taken several steps to bolster this sector. Under the guidance of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we have announced special packages for the SME sector, which many companies, I believe, are utilizing. And we hope that the MSMEs will scale up and generate more employment and business in the coming days. You would have seen also on the sideline that India has India is going ahead with a huge program on vaccination against the COVID-19 pandemic. And we are also actively helping our neighborhood countries with vaccines. This is expected to, again, create an environment where our businesses can work together and enhance the sort of linkages between the two countries. We know that the Italian leadership in design and innovation. We have presence of companies, as I said, which has huge technological advancement. It's a perfect match for India's growing economy. You all know that we have huge requirements in sectors like food processing, renewable energy, transportation and logistics, infrastructure, machinery, and of course the new and efficient technologies, which are real forte of Italian industries, particularly Italian small and medium enterprises. Italy is also an ideal destination for investment for SME companies from India. The business-friendly policies of the Italian government and the various initiatives which Ambassador Luca has mentioned will definitely help us in and gain from participating in these new initiatives. Of course, we have seen that there has been a decrease in the GDP of both the countries due to the pandemic situation. We are already seeing a partial recovery, both in India and also in Italy, which sets the stage for enhancing these partnerships, even at the SME sector. Of course, we are seeing that in the service sector, where Indian SMEs are active, the recovery has been slightly slower. Also in the tourism and other services where we have a substantive presence. I mentioned the areas like leather industry and food processing, where we can step up our engagement very soon. If provided that the COVID-19 spread is effectively contained, we expect recovery of GDP, and our expectation is that it will continue gradually from the first quarter of 2021. So with the important stimulus, we hope that this will cater to strengthen the recovery process, which has already started. In this forum, I would also like to mention a few points which could be thought and discussed in the SME forum in your organization as potential for further development. You are seeing that, of course, you would have followed the events after the Brexit, and European Union, particularly Italy, offers huge opportunity for Indian SME sector in light of Brexit and the various opportunities it offers. Of course, it would require further discussion and study by such organizations as yours. I hope Mr. Salunkhe and your organization will further take up these topics and look at Italy as a major opportunity in light of Brexit. Another area which we would see is encouraging startups and the efforts to create an ecosystem which is full of innovation, invention, and enterprise in both our country, in India, and also in working up cooperation of startups with Italy. We had a delegation visiting last year with a few startup companies. They visited Italy and tried to explore the various best practices with Italian companies and the regions which Ambassador Luca mentioned, like Lombardy and Emilia-Romagna. They are promoting their startup economy, startup environment in a huge way. So there is huge potential for Indian startups from SME sector to look at this opportunity and further take advantage of these. Basically, collectively, we can participate and gain from each country's efforts, and an ecosystem which can further help us in future for these. Another area which I want to highlight is the development which Italy has in logistics sector. Our government also, under the guidance of Honorable Prime Minister, is giving a lot of attention in the area of logistics. We hope we can further develop this sector. A third area which I see as a potential opportunity is, of course, the situation following COVID-19 pandemic, wherein the European countries are looking at their supply chain and basically looking at opportunities from other countries from where they can source their resources, in imports, expanding imports with countries like India, particularly in wake of relook at countries like China. So I see huge potential in this collaboration, because if we take the opportunity and see areas which are prospering and areas where there is huge demand from Italy for importing products, for facilitating their economy in a strong way. Basically, this cooperative spirit which we are looking at in the current situation can greatly enhance confidence of businesses from both sides and help our stakeholders to further strengthen these initiatives. Of course, we have government-to-government collaboration, which is very strong. You have already seen that governments have taken various initiatives. The embassies are supporting in these initiatives by organizing various events and supporting Indian and Italian companies. We at the Embassy of India in Rome and the Consulate General of India in Milan would be more than happy to assist any of the SME companies from India and from Italy to work out these collaborative approaches. We can provide inputs. We can help them in coordinating these meetings either on virtual platforms or physical meetings as and when travel restrictions are much more easier. Basically, we would like to support and create this enabling environment in the months to come. We would be in touch and would again like to emphasize that whatever activities taken up by the SME Forum to SME Chamber of India to take these steps in further strengthening these linkages, we would be happy to assist. I'm sure that the potential and the scope in enhancing these partnerships is known very much to our SME sector. Just to again emphasize this point, I want to just mention one data point which shows that in the last year, Italy sold goods to the United States which were worth more than 2.5% more than those exported by countries like UK. And imports, I of course mentioned the factor which is very important, which is imports of Italy from China, wherein there lies huge potential. And would like to conclude that as we've seen that the forces of globalization will play themselves out well in this 2021, where countries are coming back after the COVID-19 pandemic. Events such as Brexit has complicated these. But while all these pose challenges to countries like India and Italy, it is a great opportunity, and we hope that the SMEs of both countries will take these productive steps and initiatives, and the SME Chamber will support them in these initiatives. We are, as informed, always available for any support from this end. And we would like to thank you again for taking this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Binoy George. Thank you for extending the helping hand to Indian SMEs to enter in Italian market. I welcome Professor Carlo for this very interesting event. But looking at the particular point, the Industry 4.0, this will be a very challenging aspect for Indian companies, particularly. Italian company can play a very important role because they have advanced technology. They can introduce the advanced technology, particularly for SME perspective. And I'm sure that while discussing today's points, I have come across some ideas that we will set up one platform which will be focusing more on the advanced technology and research point of view. Because Indian companies are not putting a lot of efforts for the research, but Italian companies are doing a lot of research and putting efforts for the innovation and invention. So there is a most important work can be done through this platform where we can introduce the advanced technology and connectivity with the Italian companies. Both the diplomat have given the very interesting thought, particularly for the SME perspective. But looking at the the impact of the pandemic on the business, particularly for manufacturing, and how the new horizons can be looked at after this pandemic is over, because most of the companies already started adopting the advanced technology, utilizing the new concept, new idea. So this is the right time for Indian companies. Those are listening today, those are going to listen through our recorded link. I would like to appeal all the SMEs from India that look at Italy as a technology partner. Look at the innovative partner for the particular segment where Honorable Prime Minister of India has given direction to the Indian Embassy to explore this kind of opportunity in this segment. So I suggest all the SMEs, to those are having ideas or those are looking to explore some business opportunity with the Italian companies, share their their inquiries so that we can discuss with His Excellency the Consul General, and we will take guidance from the Italian ambassador and his team, particularly for the how we can develop more cooperation. Your Excellency, you said about the industrial parks and the most of the industrial premises in India. We have a plan. We are going with the Maharashtra government and Gujarat government part, setting up high-tech industrial SME park, where we are inviting the top SMEs from the world. They will come down and they will set up their business, particularly for research, development, and innovation. That can be, beneficial to the SME sector in India, particularly for the improvement of their productivity and quality and services. Today we have Professor Carlo Altomonte, who is going to share his thoughts on the European economic policy, where he is going to give a presentation or his thoughts in behalf of or on behalf of Bocconi University, so that we will understand how both the countries economically and particularly business point of view take advantage. Professor, floor is open for you.
Thank you, Mr. Chandrakant, and thank you, Alessandro, for the very kind invitation. It's a pleasure and an honor being here, and I salute Dr. Binoy in Rome and His Excellency, Mr. De Luca. And good morning, everyone. So let me give a brief overview of what I think is, I think Alessandro already pointed out, a very complementary case between these two economies, especially on the SMEs cooperation, because Alessandro already pointed out the many similarities and complementarities that the cooperation between these two countries can have. However, the elephant in the room, if I might say so, is of course the pandemic. You might design all sorts of programs and all sorts of cooperation efforts, and I actually I can anticipate that what I've heard from His Excellency and from Luca and from Dr. Binoy go in line with, I think, what is going to be the post-COVID context, but let me speculate on that a bit more. So the point is, you can design all sorts of programs and cooperation effort, but what you really have to ask yourself is this program going to be let's say, COVID proof? Or are we, the risk that we are running is to design cooperation efforts that then do not survive the outlook and the equilibrium that economies will take after the pandemic, because we really don't know where we're going to end up. And so the risk is that we are designing now tools that are not updated for the future situation. So what I'll try to do today is to try to tell you how the pandemic is having an impact on the two countries, Europe, Italy, or India, but the results is very similar because the shock of the pandemic is similar. The outcome on the economy of the pandemic is similar. The government response is similar. So it is pretty easy to do so. And then what aspects of the post-COVID world are worth emphasizing in order to design programs of cooperation. To that extent, I've already heard something that goes, I think, in the right direction. So let me emphasize that. First of all, what is happening to the business environment with the pandemic? Well, we all know. Essentially, there are, if you want, two types of shocks. One is a sort of an external shock, and it relates to the disruption in foreign market, in global value chains that the pandemic is having. So these are disruption on production. These are disruption on the mobility of workers and the mobility of businessmen. So contracts not being signed, the difficulties in having supplies, obstacles to production and things like that. So the reaction to all this has been clearly, and we have already seen that, a drop in trade, which has been significant, and also a sort of a re-regionalization of value chains where companies have started looking closer to their countries and to their borders versus very far away, at least in this uncertain phase. So clearly the first shock that the business sector is having is this external demand shock, which we have to face somehow. Then there is another important shock, and the shock is the same for India or Europe, which is related to how dependent the production activities are on social distancing. So all countries waiting for vaccines have put in place lockdowns, have put in place a restriction to mobility, have put in place social distancing measures. And these measures are affecting, of course, sectors differently across the board. In particular, we all know that, and it has already been pointed out, that industries like tourism or retail or travel are being severely affected by the COVID shock. Through this, let's call it internal disruption. Now, the outcome of both this external and internal disruption is that companies risk going bankrupt without, let's say, being worth them. So very good companies might risk defaulting if they're not supported by the government. And actually what is taking place right now is a strong support by governments with all sorts of schemes, guarantees on bank loans, part-time workers, support to job retention schemes of different sorts, wage subsidies, loans to entrepreneurs and to families. All these type of programs have been put in place, both in Europe and in India, actually. I've compared the programs, and they're very similar in terms of tools and in terms of intensity. Now, a key issue, therefore, here is, and therefore that might give a different outcome on the crisis, is how fast and how you phase these sort of programs out. Too fast phase out risks of having good SMEs, good companies going bankrupt without needing them. A too slow, however, phase out risks of having problems in terms of creating inefficient companies staying on the market and absorbing resources in terms of workers and in terms of bank loans. So you risk having a heavily burdened, if you want, bank sector if the measures are not, let's say, phased out in the proper way. So the first thing that we have to really look at when we start designing programs of cooperation that span a number of years in the future is the extent to which, and I think this is a key issue also, Alessandro, we were discussing this a few days ago for the SME chamber, to monitor and to make sure that the phasing out of this program is taken at the pace which is compatible with the needs of small and medium-sized enterprises. Because otherwise you risk of designing programs of cooperation and programs of support that then go to, let's say, a different customer that you think that you thought you would have been in place. Either a customer that is too inefficient and too subsidized to be worth helping, or a lack of a customer because you would have too many default in the country. So the first thing is really try to combine and take into account, if you want, all the type of programs that you're putting in place with coordinating them with the necessary phasing out and transition phase that both our economies have to have in terms of support to SMEs, in terms of preservation of jobs, in terms of loan guarantees, and how to dismantle them. So these are two things that cannot be, put as independent anymore, at least for the next couple of years. The second, let's say, issue that I would like to point out when we think at designing a program of support of SMEs in the post-pandemic world is related to, especially to the external shock. So here, many companies have to recover from this foreign demand shock, which is not going to, let's say, come back to normal very soon. So in a way, all sort of support programs that allow SMEs to be embedded into global value chains are very, very welcome, because all these programs actually are twice welcome, because all these programs can compensate very clearly for a lack of internal demand that might emerge in the early phases of the post-pandemic recovery. So embedding SMEs into the future global value chain is now more than ever very important, and therefore I welcome and I agree with every word that the Italian ambassador has said on this, which is, so the program becomes extremely important. Now, another feature of this program that have to embed SMEs into global value chain to help them gaining access to the market that they have lost during the pandemic is whether related again to what type of value chains we are going to have in the post-pandemic world. So again, we have to think forward and fine-tune the program today to the needs of SMEs tomorrow. Now, clearly, for a certain time being, we assume that, again, the disruptions to physical mobility have to stay in place. And we know that disruption to physical mobilities, and at the same time, it was mentioned as well by the speakers at different moments, has created as a response the development of the digital economy and the use of ITCs. Now, this conference that we are having today is proof to the fact that we have stepped one leap forward in the use of communication technologies that we were not used to have until let alone 1 year ago or so. So this creates a double effect on value chains for companies. On the one hand, because of the disruptions, you might want to reshore part of the activities at home, and so regionalize the value chain, which you might think this is something that's going to create a permanent negative effect on value chains. So the intensity with which value chain operate in the economy, one might think is going to be diminished in the future. Well, actually, the preliminary evidence that we are having from the data tells us that this is not the case. As it has been pointed out, SMEs in value chains are very resilient. And so there is some resilience in this. And value chains are just operating at lower speed, but the structure of value chain is still in place. Now, what can happen, however, is that the nature of the type of goods exchanged in the value chain changes. Why so? Because now that we have ICTs, it might be the case that certain crucial manufacturing part of the value chains are brought back home, because companies have realized that part of the network have become very critical, especially with the supply shock in China in the early phase of COVID last year. So if you talk to a number of companies, they are now seeing whether key components of the value chains are, let's say, strategic and need to be brought under control. So these key components might be brought back. But the development of ICT and the development of the easier communication that we are all having throughout the globe might lead to a more intensive use of services in value chain, so an internationalization of services. So all this means, and in this sense, I think what the ambassador, the Italian ambassador has said makes a lot of sense. This means that these programs that we are setting up in terms of embedding SMEs into future value chains have to rely critically on digital platform, have to rely critically on e-commerce, have to rely critically on allowing SMEs to access IT services, maybe creating virtual fairs, virtual events. So if you want to embed in the future value chains, SMEs into value chains, you have to think that value chains will be much more 4.0 rather than 3.0. Both in terms of the intensity of use of the communication media for contracting, for meeting, for virtual, let's say, visits, and also in terms of type of products that are going to be exchanged on value chains. So consulting, services, maintenance, these type of things are going to be much more boosted by the post-pandemic world. And we need, therefore, to let's say, adapt our GVC support program for SMEs to this new reality. I think this is a very important point. So we have to stop thinking like I bring the SMEs physically to the place of production. You don't know when this is going to happen. So rather start thinking of bringing them virtually, start organizing virtual meetings, start organizing virtual fairs, common platform, conferences with breakout rooms where people can chat and discuss over contracts versus the virtual, let's say, big environment in which they're meeting, and things like this. I think this is this fine-tuning of support policies is necessary, but I see that this is already happening to a certain extent. We just need to be aware. So let me recap and let me conclude. I don't want to steal too much time on this. Support policies for SMEs coordinated with the necessary transition phase of economic policies in terms of phasing out all the aid that has been poured onto the economy in terms of job retention schemes, in terms of loan guarantees, etc., making very sure that the support policies accompany the transition phase that we are going to start as soon as vaccines start having an impact on the economy, which is 6 months down the road. I mean, it's not a big time ahead. So we are already discussing that in Europe, at least, most of the support policies need to start being phased out by the end of 2021, start being phased out, which means that by 2022, we are in the transition phase, and therefore support policies have to adapt to this. And second, support policies in terms of access to foreign demand suited to the post-pandemic digital intensive world. Again, this making sure that these services, digital services, can be accessed by SMEs in the new definition of value chain that is going to take place. I would stop here.
Thank you, Professor Carlo. It's very interesting and very useful information for the SME perspective. I would like to, I have some questions, but I would like to take selected question, but we have a lot of questions arrived, and we will look into the questions, and I will share the questions related to the Indian embassy or in Italian embassy in Delhi. I have a question that, Your Excellency, what are the difficulties faced to the Italian companies when they want to enter in India, except the setting up business or identifying the partner, where SME Chamber of India can play a very important role, or can support the Italian companies to have a right business partner?
Thank you. This is a very interesting question. I have to tell you that we have seen a remarkable progress in the last 5 years, also thanks to the Modi government policy in terms of facilitation of investment here in India. For example, I worked with the Italian company since mid-90s, because I've been always in the role of director for international internationalization of companies. I work in E&I, in Enel, in companies with Confindus and so on. But I never experienced, for example, an agency like Invest India in terms of promotion, facilitation of investor here in India. This is only one example, but also in the States, it's true that there is still a sort of fragmentation in terms of regulatory framework in some cases, different from a state, from another, from the center and the local states. But the direction given by the Modi government is the right one, because we have one entry point here in Delhi for what is the promotion and facilitation of investment. We have a fast-track mechanism for some disputes between companies and authorities. We have a framework of a plan of action where we quite clear the priorities and the direction of our investment. Of course, we have organized a very efficient, I think, diplomatic and consular network here in India, in Mumbai, in Delhi, in Kolkata. We have the Italian Trade Promotion Agency, a very effective also office from SACE, CIMEST, CDP. You know, when the Italian system was more fragmented, the state, the regions in Italy, different kind of organization, and also a weaker Italian export credit agency now is incorporated in the Italian Investment Bank, CDP. We have made a lot of progress, I think, in Italy, honestly speaking, in terms of support to the internationalization. And here, the same, in India, I've seen a government that is really open to, especially for investment from Europe and from Italy. I cannot say from all over the world, I know the situation, but from Italy and Europe, certainly India wants more and more investment. And I think we have to take this opportunity. I discussed also in other fora that we consider making India self-reliant India not as a policy of protectionism, but as a policy of encouragement of high-tech investment here, because the Indian government was to strengthen the capabilities of the industrial platform, and so they ask investment here. It also in form of joint venture, or not only joint venture, even in the defense sector. Now we have a legislation here that allows foreign investor in defense sector to go up to 74% of the investment here, or direct investment here in India. That is a very important new policy. So for Italian companies, I think we have all the conditions here to help them. And in fact, over the last 5 or 6 months, we have seen further investment, even in this very difficult period of COVID, from Fiat with the digital hub in Hyderabad, and also with 2 new plants for Jeep production in India, from Enel in renewable energy, for Maire Tecnimo for green chemical, from Ferrovie dello Stato, further project in metro and railway, from WeBuild, they want to expand their activity also in India. And these are the big, so-called the national champions. But I think also there is a potential maybe more for mid-sized companies from Italy, because they are maybe more ready also to invest directly here. But I appreciate a lot the presentation of Professor Altomonte, because I do believe that with this new, let's say, pattern of doing business in COVID and for a period post-COVID, the digitalization, that is not only the digital platform and the matchmaking and the, let's say, doing business easier with these modalities, but also a new form of organization of the companies that is required to really take all these opportunities. That's what we are also trying to discuss with Assolombarda, with other associations in Italy. To go digital means also change the pattern of working or processing the activity in each company, not only big companies, but also small companies. And maybe small companies would be also more flexible to adapt to the new reality. This is a question we will see. And I think with Bocconi, we can work together. We are working together, in fact, also to support this process. From our side, we had this idea that this is time to turn a challenge into an opportunity. And the fact that we organize so many events in digital platform and involving so many SMEs is the proof that really the opportunity is there. We have to work on these opportunities, of course, with support of the policies of the 2 governments. Also, I would add, we will have also the potential of further resources from the European Union in partnership with India. And I think that one area where we can share technology between European Union and India is all this green economy, energy transition, because there is a challenge also for the Indian energy efficiency. This is the challenge to really go on in the Paris Agreement commitment and go towards the climate change targets. So I think we have a momentum here, that's for sure, for geopolitical also kind of reason, but especially for the opportunities that governments now offer to SMEs to increase their investment.
Okay, Alessandro.
Thank you. It's been extremely helpful. It's been extremely enlightening to see the cooperation from all sides, which is quite new, if you want. And as Ambassador Vincenzo Luca was saying, it's a very special moment. We are all excited about that, and digitization is something where Bocconi is working a lot, and where also the Asia Center is working a lot, to the extent that we are bringing to Mumbai the Divo Lab that exists in Milan, that caters to the top 20 tech companies, both MNCs and Italian companies in Milan. And we're replicating the same in Mumbai, and it will be a platform of assessing the digital maturity of the companies, and at the same time to guide them with the correct ROI through their digital path. So I'm very happy to cooperate further on that, because it's one of the important guidelines that we have.
Okay. Dr. Binoy, particularly when the Indian companies, when they enter into Italian segment or Italian companies, identifying exploring the new business opportunity. Rather, today's event is going to listen to many people, many entrepreneurs, buyers, importers, exporters, even inventors also, because India is putting a lot of efforts for the developing more innovation, invention in the SME sector. What is your observation while any Indian company entering into Italian market? What are the challenges and hurdles they face, where diplomat can take forward, and we can give a guidance to the SME sector?
Indeed, there have been a lot of Indian companies who have come and invested in Italy in the last, particularly in the last 5 years. We have, of course, big names who have come and have some sort of specific technologically related acquisitions, like the Mahindras, or there is a Jindal Group, then there is, there are several such names. And of course, we have our companies from the services sector, including TCS, who are quite active here in Italy. There have been, I won't say that it is problemless. Of course, Italy is a developed EU market. Systems are in place wherein an Indian company can come in and make an investment. The government is very supportive. There are various schemes, particularly post-COVID, where the Italian government is providing support so that major Italian companies with niche technologies are not subject to such outright acquisition or losing their majority shares in that way. But as I said, Indian companies who have started their subsidiaries here, made investments here, have been performing quite well. There have been some aberrations, like 1 or 2 small companies starting and facing some difficulties. Taxation is one area where a few companies have raised their concerns with regard to the high taxation, which is understandable in a market like this. Otherwise, overall, the environment has been very friendly, and Indian companies with an exposure to European markets, some have really been successful in establishing their ventures, either joint ventures or complete ownership of subsidiaries. It's a very enabling environment which we have here, and the consulate is, we have a commerce section which is dedicated to providing support to such companies. And we also take the support of Italian chambers of commerce like Solombada and Confindustria in facilitating this sort of movement and the venture by Italian companies. And like I said before, we are always there to provide any assistance to our SME companies. Thank you.
Okay. Professor Carlo, what you have observed currently after the Brexit, what do you think that Italy and India can play a very important role to to explore the business and investment opportunity with the other European countries? How we can play a partnership, since today's event is focusing on the partnership between both the countries' SMEs. What you found and what you are observing on this matter?
Mr. Chandrakant, I heard you. If you can repeat very briefly the question, because I had some.
Okay, no problem. I will repeat. See, looking at the Brexit, okay.
Oh yeah.
How Italy and Indian companies can explore the business and investment opportunity, rather take advantage of this Brexit, by establishing cooperation between both the countries or both the companies in SME sector.
Okay, no, thank you. So I had missed the Brexit part at the beginning of your question. So Brexit is having, for the time being, consequences on UK essentially. They are having. You don't hear this because of all the noise and correct rumor on the pandemic in the UK, which, as you know, is out of control because of the new variant of the virus, and therefore the government is putting under the carpet all the problems associated with Brexit that they are having, and they are blaming all the negative outcome of the UK economy, which has significantly worsened their growth rate for 2020, closing 2020. They're blaming it on COVID, while part of it is actually Brexit. Why they are having problem? Because, as you know, they have moved from a perfect integration into the single market, where you have not only no tariffs, but also no forms, no bureaucracy, no standards, no customs to clear, nothing, to a free trade area. In a free trade area, yes, goods can move freely, but you have to prove that the goods come from the free trade area versus not. So therefore, there is a lot of paperwork associated to it. And then there are also the standards, especially in the agricultural sector, the food safety sector. Dr. Binoy was already mentioning how this can be complicated already, for example, for India, in general, in any country. So you are having weird cases in the UK where you do not find some products in supermarkets, or you do buy online and the good then is charged with extra bureaucratic charges. You hear stories of teenagers buying T-shirts that cost 50 euros, 40 euros, and then they end up paying 10 or 15 euros more for custom charges, etc. Not tariffs, just charges, because these are costs. You hear stories of wine companies that are moving away from the UK to set up subsidiaries in Europe, because otherwise it would be impossible for them to deal with every single transaction. So they have to put together all the transactions. Or you're having stories of UK truck drivers that when they arrive in the Netherlands, they can eat their sandwiches only for the bread part, because the inner part, which is ham, gets becomes illegal as an imported product in the EU. So jokes apart, I mean, and strange cases apart, all this is essentially generating a reshoring of activity away from the UK towards Europe, essentially. So many, even Indian companies, Tata in particular, that has a lot of interest in the UK as a foreign presence, with all the associated suppliers. They sooner or later will have to move, since the investment in the UK was meant to serve the EU market, sooner or later they will have to move back to Europe. And this creates an opportunity, of course, because that means that there will be a reshoring of activities away from the UK on European soil for Indian companies especially, okay? Because then you are again having the opportunity of restructuring the value chain through European, anticipating this move of big Indian players on European territory. So this is, I think, the most important, let's say, economic effect. The political effect is, however, that the UK for sure will seek a free trade agreement with India. Probably negotiations are already ongoing, because as you probably know, 78–80% of the UK market access to the rest of the world was through EU agreements. So now that they are out of the EU, they have to recreate this free tariff market access that they used to have. Now, clearly, the agreement, because what they have signed with the EU doesn't transfer automatically to third countries, right? So the UK is now renegotiating. And in this, I think there is a political space, because as we know, the EU-India agreement has been on the table for many, many years, with ups and downs, stops and starts, according to the different, political parties and political pressures. Now, Europe has signed a very important agreement with China, the Chinese Agreement on Investment, the Comprehensive Agreement on Investment, where we have started putting on the table some of the most contentious issues that China has always had with every partner in the world, and we are going forward with that. I hope that the pressure of the UK in signing something with India will also, let's say, bring together a coordinated response in terms of the agreement between the EU and India, so that if you want, we can use the UK as the excuse for strengthening our EU-India cooperation through the pressure that the UK will put on your government for signing up an agreement. So in a sense of positive complementarity to the existing agreements from a political point of view, rather than a rivalry. So I think this is very important in terms of political outcomes for the years to come.
Okay. His Excellency, Dr. Binoy, in your speech, you said there are plenty of Indian top corporates are there. I'm sure that there will be small companies also must be there, which is involved in various activity. But let us focus, say, like tomorrow, the next 1 or 2 years time, we will bring Indian 100 companies to set up their businesses to avail the European Commission's facility, the Italian government's facility to do business in Italy. Let us focus on the specific sector where Indian companies can learn and earn more from the Italian market or Italian businesses, where they can explore different type of businesses in the European countries. So this is one suggestion. And
yes,
let us utilize our platform where we can utilize the diplomatic relationship, the trade, remove the trade barriers, and continue our relationship. Your Excellency, the Ambassador, you said in your speech twice that you mentioned about the trade finance. When Indian companies importing from the Italy particular machines and equipment, they have difficulties while channelizing finance from Indian banks. Since my organization putting a lot of efforts with the Reserve Bank of India, Minister of Finance, Ministry of Finance, to to enhance the credit facility to SME sector, but there is a hitch. There is some little bit trouble. But I can suggest you, Your Excellency, that if we can develop cooperation with the trade finance agency, and we can identify the capital goods manufacturers from the Italy, where Indian companies can buy from Italy more in the technological developed machines, equipments, technology, hand tools, or other, advanced technology and patented technology. Some of SMEs are thinking that, the patented technology is very costly. It is not affordable, but they are rare. So the point is contacts. So embassy can play a very important role, and the Indian embassy also can play a very important role to connect the concerned authorities, concerned companies, those are interested, those are shown interest. So this is a humble request to both of you that if you can share the ideas or contacts or introduce, because India and Italy, the first word is I. So I want to focus invitation to these companies, introduction to these companies between Indian companies, innovation for the development of the technology part and all these things, and of course the investment in both the countries. We have to initiate that. Then only we can initiate the concept, the rules, regulations, trade benefits we have discussed during their diplomatic relationship. I'm sure that this will be beneficial to us. Do you have any closing remarks, His Excellency the Ambassador, sir? Would you like to say something?
No, yes, just to further expand about also some proposal from Carlo Altomonte. I think we can work together with the Chamber of Commerce, the SMEs Chamber of India, with the Indian Embassy in Rome, and with the digital platform Invest India, to facilitate sort of presentation of how, for example, the Indian digital service SMEs can offer solution for some of the challenges of our manufacturing in the process of Industry 4.0. At the same time, we can present to some Indian groups like Tata the opportunities of the existing value chain in Italy to operate with them, both ways. And also, I would add again, all the area of green economy and energy transition, we have a lot of challenges in front of us, and we have some technological solution in Italy and in India, vice versa. So what we have to do is just to create a sort of market exchange of opportunities, information, and contacts between the world of SMEs from Italy to India and vice versa. So I'm ready to work with you, with the Bocconi, with the Invest India, with with the Indian Embassy in Italy, and I think we have a potential to do much more than what they've done in the past few years, thanks to also this digital revolution that is going on, and we have to take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. I can give assurance on my behalf, of my chamber behalf, because SME Chamber of India is having large number of membership. When any company approaching with us, we have a strong SME entrepreneurs. They are having the setup very good setup. So we don't want to go to the government, knock the door of the government, red tapeism. We have a strong network of among SMEs where I can support you. Dr. George, would you like to say any closing remarks?
No, I very much agree with Excellency Ambassador's comments. Like you said, the big companies, the big Indian companies who have a presence here or who are still interested in looking at opportunities of investing in India and in Italy, post-COVID and post-Brexit, they are doing their independent studies, they are approaching big consultancy firms and doing their background work. What I would like to emphasize to your members is that usually for the companies from SME sector who really don't have the wherewithal to undertake such elaborate studies and make such crucial contacts, both the embassies, like the embassy of Italy in India, and here the embassy of India in Rome and the consulate here in Milan, we have a standalone commerce section which deals with providing support to such companies. Particularly, we have a commercial representative in both the embassy in Rome and the consulate in Milan, whose contact details are provided at our website. you or any of the companies, either independently or through the SME Chamber of India, can contact us with their specific queries. And we would again urge you to take up this opportunity. It's an amazing opportunity and a perfect time with all these conditions. Of course, there are challenges of travel, challenges in reaching out to the right partner, challenges which are there because of digitization. But these institutions which we have here have already set up various systems and methodologies to help you in your ventures. So please take use of these support systems which we have, and we'll be more than happy to assist you in any of these targeted ventures.
Alessandro, your closing remarks.
Thank you, everybody. I think I really have to thank for all the support and the ideas that have come out. I think Chandrakant will have a lot of work to do in the next few months, but it's very exciting because I see the cooperation from all sides. So extremely happy of this event, and thank you, everybody. Looking forward to working a lot together.
Okay. Professor Carlo, would you like to say a few words?
No, just that I'm very happy of having participated. I think there is a lot of scope for cooperation, and I have seen that by discussing with Dr. Binoy and His Excellency Luca, the ideas have already been put on the table. I will be teaching in India in a few weeks. In India, I mean, virtually in India. I should have come to India in a few weeks in our branch in Mumbai. But I look forward to keeping this line of communication open with all of you. Many thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of SME Chamber of India and India-Italy SME Business Council, this is a very good and wonderful discussion at this platform, how we can develop the business partnership between India and Italian SMEs, where we can explore more business, the bilateral trade business, in and outbound investment, and mostly remove the trade barriers faced by the Indian and Italian companies in both the countries. And of course, we want to bring out the new ideas and action plan to accomplish the vision given by Honorable Prime Minister of India and Honorable Prime Minister of Italy. And we want to develop more cooperation between Indian and the Italian businesses. I welcome the suggestions and issues and problems from our Indian SMEs, particularly from the Italian companies, also to present the both the dignitaries and to resolve the issues, to create a level playing field, create very innovative field for enhancing the business activity between India and Italy. So nevertheless, I will not say goodbye or we are stopping here, but this is the start of discussion. So we want to explore more different ideas and different segments on the segment wise, particularly in future. Thank you very much, Your Excellency Ambassador Luca, for providing very valuable and sparing your valuable time during this pandemic also. Dr. George, thank you very much for your knowledge sharing session. I suggest you can inform the ambassador about the deliberation today and what is the need of our and what can be done for the future, how we can develop more cooperation between India and Italy. Alessandro, of course, you are part of our activity, so thank you for your involvement and initiative. We want to develop more, and as you said that we have to work hard, but nevertheless, both the diplomat will definitely support us to resolve the issues and to bring new business ideas in it. Professor Carlo, thank you very much, and I look forward more inputs from you, particularly European perspective, how we can Indian and the Italian businesses can take forward. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, and all the best to you. And take care. Be safe. Be healthy. To make the Indian and Italian SMEs wealthy.
Thank you. Bye bye.